What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Sports Live. If you are not watching on Twitch each and every day, you missed a dandy of a little bit of a conversation between Dave and I about undershirts and wearing sleeved undershirts to non-sleeved undershirts. You got to be here on Twitch for the pre-shows. They are a banger each and every day, but we are back talking everything we love, that is sports. I am joined, as I always am, with my esteemed co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, how's your day going today? Had a work day? How you doing?
Surviving the daily grind, putting in my 24 hours a week. So it's a tough one,
I also did what you did I did last night what
you drank
did.
A lot?
No. In World of Warcraft, I did what you did.
What do you mean?
I made a second character for when Dave's not playing. It is also
fucking current. Wow, so some Shadowlands.
Couldn't find any mystics, man. I jump on. I try to find the mystics. If no one will, mythics, whatever they are, no one will take me. And when people do take me, I have no problems. So I don't get it. It's stupid. So I go in. I look for my mythic. I don't find any. And then I jumped on to classic. And I was like, well, I'm not going to level my hunter without Dave. So I made a warrior for when you're not on.
Cool.
I made a warrior because in BC, why not tank some things as a warrior, Or will
there's only going to be like 150,000 of those.
or will I do what Dave did, level a warrior all the way to 70, and then have the guild go, nah, we don't need that anymore.
We don't need you.
Level a new character. But we're here to talk sports. We got some NBA on the docket, some college football, NFL. Also, really great show for today. Before we get into everything, though, let's go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. Number one, if you're not in the Discord, you are missing out. Greatest community on the internet to date. Go join that link down below or !Discord into Twitch chat. Get you that link. If you want to support Dave and myself and also Soapy, patreon.com/MVPvids is the main way to do that. Again, link down below, Patreon into Twitch chat is the two-way to get those links. Thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean, and to all our patrons at patreon.com. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We are also on YouTube at MVP Sports, so go ahead, follow, like, sub at all the places so you're always in tune to what's going on with MVP and all the great content we are, I should say good to great content. There's some great days, there's some bad days, there's some good days. You can keep track of all of it by following us everywhere we are. But Dave, the first thing we're getting into, kind of a mini thing, just wanted to give an update to it because we haven't really talked about it on the show because we're not going to speculate about it, obviously, but some good news about Keyontae Johnson today. There was a quote, this is coming from ESPN, where it says, Keyontae is in stable condition today, breathing on his own and speaking with us and with his doctors here at UF Health. He even FaceTimed the team. We feel so much love and support from everyone, and we're beyond grateful for the care and attention that Keyontae has received throughout these past several days. Nikita and Marcus Johnson said in a statement that was released through the school. So, Dave, just some good news. Keyontae Johnson breathing on his own, talking on his own. This is what you wanted to see after the horrific events of what happened last Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, there was a scary moment on the court. Bizarre that the team decided to continue to play that game. Can't say that I agree with that necessarily. They did take the next game off, which again, there was question marks there for me, Rick. As that one did not make much sense. I didn't follow their logic there, but whatever, emotional time, logic need not apply. Just happy to hear the kid's doing better. He's a top prospect in his class. I don't know if he'll ever play basketball again. I just hope he fully recovers and, is able to get healthy because we don't really know what happened to him yet.
Yeah. Now that you bring it up, it is kind of weird that they continued that game. And if you're a player of Florida, how did you mentally, how did you continue to after that happened, how were you able to get yourself back up to play a game? I just witnessed my brother pass out.
He nearly died.
Yeah,
he looked like he died on the court. It was
that thought never popped into my brain, Dave, until you just said what came out of your mouth. I was like, he's got an interesting point. The first thing we are diving into today is a little NBA, a little Luka Doncic. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, Dave, was the MVP odds were kind of put out today. Vegas put them out. And the leader in the clubhouse is a Mr. Luka Doncic. So ESPN has it here. Luka Doncic has separated himself from Giannis Antetokounmpo and emerged as the consensus favorite to win the NBA regular season MVP at U.S. sportsbooks, and bettors are flocking to the Mavericks' young superstar. On November 10th, Luka and Giannis opened as plus 550 co-favorites at Caesars Sportsbooks by William Hill. Okay. Since then, Luka has attracted twice as many bets and twice as much money as other players to become the solo favorite at plus 400. Giannis is the two-time reigning MVP. He dropped to plus 500. Steph Curry is at plus 750. AD is at plus 800. And LeBron James is at plus 850. Here's the topic I wanted to kind of approach with this, Dave, is you and I kind of had this discussion because I kind of threw out there of like how far Luka could go in the playoffs. Like I said something about Luka, and your basically reaction was like, let's pump the brakes on Luka. Like, let's not think that this kid's going to win a championship like this season. I'm going to basically ask that question to you. With him now leading the MVP, this is going to turn in, obviously he's getting a lot of bets, so people think he is going to be the best player in the league this year. Are we expecting too much out of Luka too soon?
I mean, it would mean something if he was leading the MVP after any games were actually played, but he's not because there's no actual games that haven't been played. Again, MVP means literally nothing because it doesn't go to the best player in the NBA. It's a popularity contest along with narrative. Now, the whole reason he's leading right now is because he's young and he is someone who a lot of people in this country and a lot of people in Europe want to get behind and push. And that's the narrative. Mm-hmm. And hey, we all want to be ahead of the curve as far as we didn't sleep on this kid, even though they all slept on this kid. Where's Trae Young on those numbers? Just curious, motherfuckers. No, look, LeBron James has been the best player in the NBA for the last, fucking decade. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, there was a year in there where Kevin Durant and Steph Curry respectively deserved it. They won it. But if we're being completely honest, Giannis hasn't been the best player the last 2 years. He's just the player who got the award. The award has nothing to do with who the best player is. The award is for writers and for fans to, sit here and criticize the whole year. It's a platitude. It's bullshit.
But like the award aside, like just in general, like, are we expecting, will this now create expectations for Luka and the Mavs team that maybe they shouldn't have? Because Luka, the interesting thing with him is that technically his playing career started in 2015. This would be his 5th year of playing professional basketball.
He's already won a championship. He's won an MVP.
Already won a championship and an MVP outside the United States. But in the NBA, it's been his rookie year not making the playoffs. Last year making the playoffs, playing a very good series against one of the better players in this league, Kawhi Leonard, and losing in 6 games.
Had they not gotten bullshitted out by the refs.
Mm-hmm. Fighting the refs, fighting injury from not just himself where he rolled his ankle or got his ankle stepped on the one game by Marux Morris.
Very clean.
And then also the injury and also ejection to KP in that series as well, to where to me, I feel like, are most people going to see this and go, oh, well, Luka and the Mavs should be favorites to get to the NBA Finals? Like, is that going to be placed on his head so soon in his career, even though this is technically year 5 of his playing career?
And it's actually year 3 of his NBA career.
Yeah, year 3.
I'm just saying. To be fair, I think he probably had the second greatest second year in the NBA ever. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of on the trajectory arc of, I'm going to be the greatest player of all time if I can keep up this pace. It's not realistic to put on anyone. It was one fantastic year. I don't think you can put that kind of shit on a kid as young as he is. Obviously, he needs time to play it out. Obviously, injuries can happen. Who knows what happens with his health? Who knows what happens with the team? You don't win a championship on the back of one player. You win the championship on the back of the GM, the coach, the supporting staff, the other stars. It's not a one-man thing. And yes, it's bullshit narrative for clicks. And I don't know why I'm so negative today about this shit, but
It
like
sounds like
the
it.
media is just extremely getting to me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like all these stories are just like, well, who's expecting that? Are people who are not basketball fans expecting him to win the championship
Mm-hmm.
and MVP? Sure. They hear Luka's name a lot now. Why not? You know? But like the kid's literally 21, you know?
Yeah.
Or 22? 21, I think, right?
He is
I forget how old he is actually.
21 and 292 days.
Yeah,
He'll
so he's
be
still
he'll be
21.
22 in February.
Yeah, cool. So he's 21-year-old, and they're like, yeah, this guy should be winning a championship. Maybe hold your fucking horses. He's by far a top 10 player in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
and some would even say he's top 5. But I think the expectations should continue to be like, hey, this is still a very young team. Yes, the trade looks promising with adding Josh Richardson to this team and the other pieces that they've moved around, but I don't know that they're favorites because the team that won the championship last year got better. So,
Well, I mean,
it just raises questions. That's all.
so like obviously they got to go out there and play the games. Obviously,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the Luka Doncic and the Mavs should for sure beat the Lakers in the conference finals if that's what the matchup is. The thing I was thinking about today, and I want to pull it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is basically for me, I was wondering on the fact of, and I know that you brought up, oh, this is only Luka's third NBA season. To me, I was wondering, should we be looking at Luka through a different lens though, because of his time as a professional in the EuroLeague and stuff? Towards basically with Luka, we should be looking at like, yeah, he's 21, but basically he's been, instead of coming in as an 18-year-old to the NBA, or a 19-year-old technically, to the NBA, and if that was the case, most guys 3 years in or start of their third year are around the same age, but like none of them have the experience of playing professionally that Luka has coming in. Should we be looking at it to where it's like, yeah, Luka's only 21, but really based on his professional career before the NBA, he might be where we might see expect a 23, 24-year-old to be playing because of the added, I'm talking about not physical, but the mental experience of, hey, I've been playing professionally overseas for about, what would it be, 4 years? No, not 4 years, about, 2015 to 2018, like 3 years before the NBA, where it's like, we should take that into consideration to where that's why we should expect more out of him rather than like a Trae Young who was in his class with him that came out of college and played 1 year in college.
I do recall the argument was NCAA basketball is better than European basketball, and the European teams would lose to the NCAA teams. That was the narrative going into the draft, was it not?
Was it? I've never heard that narrative.
I almost 100% I think that was the narrative because you were one of the people spitting it, Ricky.
No.
The whole point was college basketball matters more than European basketball.
Mine wasn't the fact that college teams are better than Euro teams. My whole thing was before Luka, it's drafting a Euro-based player. Like, we never have seen anyone like Luka. I was wrong on Luka. I'm the first one to say it. I threw out the Mario Hezonja 2.0 at the beginning, the kind of like, hey, this could be the situation. But it's only because of what we had seen from Euro players that were drafted in the NBA to where it was kind of like a hit or miss. I know Dirk is one of them. They're not all in the bad category, but like, yet again, it was the majority were not Dirk, were not Luka. So it's like, that's another thing where Luka has kind of just shattered that mold to where now when someone drafts like a Pokusevski this time around, no one's questioning it. Now people are saying like, oh, dude, he could be the next Giannis. Like, that's what we are seeing people say with Poku, because I feel like because of what Luka shattered in his already, 2 years in the league?
Yeah, I mean, like, so is this Killian Hayes' second year playing professionally, third year playing professionally then?
Yeah.
I believe he played 2 years at the highest level in
Hmm.
Europe. It's a fucking joke. Look, the point is he was a better basketball player than anybody else at his age.
Hmm.
Period. And because he played in Europe, he had the opportunity to play against grown men and develop his game at a different level. Hey, kids in high school in America get to play AAU, actually before high school,
Hmm.
get to play AAU, travel ball, all this stuff to accelerate their game and to showcase what they can do. Europe, it's clearly you can play up through the minor leagues, the clubs, and then eventually EuroLeague itself. So I don't think there's look, I don't put pressure on him. I don't think he feels the pressure. I think he's someone who, and this
Hmm.
is Mark Cuban actually had an interview yesterday. At least the video went up for it yesterday. Just kind of talk about Luka Doncic and like what he kind of saw in him and how he saw him on the court and everything. It was just like, no,
Hmm.
he's just like I don't think the playing professionally should be used as a narrative to count against him and start his clock early. I think that's ridiculous. I think that if anybody from Zion could have gone over in Europe and played for a couple of years at
Hmm.
age 15, he would have done really well. Still, it's just he was a better basketball player than people at that
Well,
age, and he could have played against grown men.
and
That's the point.
the one thing I want to cut you off with is, for me specifically, I'm not saying the start hit like you said, start his clock early. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's wrong. It's not the start his clock early. Did his pre-professional or his non-American professional career, did that not start the clock early? Did that basically say, well, everyone else's floor is here because you have that experience, your floor is here coming in? Where it's basically not accelerated it, it's giving him to where it's like if you're going to have the normal clock of everyone else, you might have your prime might go 2 more years down because of that experience you had before getting drafted.
I. What do you mean by 2 more years down?
Like, let's say,
He'll enter his prime earlier and leave his prime
well, not
earlier,
enter
or
his prime, but like I'm talking like I'm thinking mentally because physically your body is what your body is. And
I disagree
like
completely.
after you get like there are some players to where it's like you
I think
might be
every
like
player from their
LeBron.
draft, yeah, from their draft date to their fourth
Hmm.
year in the league, they changed dramatically.
Yeah, but I mean the thing that I'm talking about is mentally, is he coming in with a different head? Has he come in with a different headspace and have maybe thought about the game differently than a college kid that has come in 1 year off of, hey, I played at Duke 1 year and now I'm in the NBA?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he's played with coaches whose job it is to win basketball games and win
Hmm.
championships, not to showcase individual players
Yeah.
and try to get them drafted in the NBA. Like, it's a different mindset. It's different coaches. I think I think there are a lot of excellent college coaches out there, but clearly
Hmm.
we see like some of them cater their program, their play style, and their entire team around one or two players. Whereas in Europe, it's very much the idea of how do I win a championship with this team? I'm going to put the right pieces in place where they need to go.
Hmm.
I like the pieces don't actually matter. It's just making sure you do everything you can with the pieces you have to win that championship, kind of thing. So
Hmm.
I think it's very different perspectives as far as how the game is taught. I think he's been coached well from a very early age, and I think the craziest thing for me about that was like and this was literally out of Mark Cuban's mouth, was the fact that when he was on those championship caliber teams, older players were deferring to him
Hmm.
because they felt like he gave them the best chance to win, and that was like the sign of like
Yeah.
we'd be dumb if we don't take this guy, kind of a
Hmm.
moment. Whereas in college, I think it's very much try to put the team on my back,
Hmm.
and it's not even like a team decision thing. It's not a coaching decision. It's
Yeah.
just like this player is going to have the buckets, kind of a
Hmm.
funnel, and it's a very different mindset. I don't know necessarily you can say that he was coached better than everyone from a younger age or anything, but you can say, or as far as your talks about like having a higher floor, I think the expectation or the old fallacy was the fact that people in Europe had better fundamentals
Hmm.
as far as basketball is concerned, while Americans are more athletic. Like, yes, that's true in a lot of cases, but I think Luka Doncic is just a situation where he is physically gifted, he is mentally gifted, he has been working with professionals since a very young age
Hmm.
to accelerate his growth on everything. And yeah, like I said, he literally had one of the top two second seasons of his professional career than anyone in history in the NBA. So like, sky's the limit for the kid. Like by the end of the day, he could be better than LeBron James, or he could twist an ankle and be done in like 6 weeks. You just don't know.
Yeah, and the one thing I was looking at, I pulled up a graphic to not put on screen, but it opened up on my other monitor. Like, I'm trying to look at, like, our expectations for even the Mavs this year. Like, your graphic, you had the Mavs at the 6th seed for this year. Let's see if I can find mine. There's my West, which is going to open up on that screen. That's beautiful. Yeah, I even had the Mavs at 4th overall, which is way higher than what I had. That, like, I feel like for me last year, the Mavs were a team that was either near the bottom of the conference, like 7-8, or fighting to get in. I feel like that's how I was on the Mavericks before the 2018 or the 2019-2020 season. And it's like now we're having them top 4 for me, top 6 for you, to where it's like even this year, if let's say Luka goes to the second round, loses to like either the Clippers again or the Lakers or I don't even know, like besides those two teams, like
the Blazers.
The Blazers, because they're supposed to be a good team and I'm really high on them. If he loses a tough series against one of them in the second round, could we see a situation? Because like, yet again, it's not a perfect parallel, but I was kind of looking earlier today of like, okay, where was LeBron year 3 and year 5? Where was Michael Jordan year 5? And I'm not saying that like those comparisons are like, oh, Luka's going to be the GOAT, but like I think his potential could be being one of the ones that passes LeBron because he's a very good player. Now, I'm not going to put that on him, but he has the possibility to do that because of how he's playing at such a young age. Plus, I find it interesting, the parallel just on stats alone, that Luka's averaged 21 points and 28 points.
Yep.
LeBron averaged 20 points his rookie year. He averaged 27 his next year and then made the jump to the 31 points. Yet again, team is different. Let's see if Luka has a jump like that. But for LeBron...
I don't know if he will. Team basketball is kind of a thing now. It's the same problem Michael Jordan had. We watched during the last ride. It was... Wait, what's his documentary name? Why I say last ride?
The Last Dance. You're thinking of The Undertaker.
Yeah, I was thinking The Undertaker. We saw that during The Last Dance. He can put up statistical numbers. That's not how you win basketball games. Yeah. They just switched coaches, and basically it was turned down Michael Jordan because he was causing your team to actually lose games because of how he played. And again, I don't think that's a situation they're going to have with Rick Carlisle necessarily right now. But it is something like for people who are just watching a box score and say, well, he's ticking this box, he's going to be over 30 points this year. Like, let's not say like if he doesn't hit 30 points, he's regressed, because I don't think that has anything to do with how his team wins games. Yeah,
I mean, also too, like I looked up so LeBron's third year playoff wise, they beat the Wizards in 6, then lost to the Detroit Pistons team, Bad Boys 2.0. Lost to them in 7 games. Then his 4th year was the year he went on to the finals. But yet again, Wizards team round 1, a Nets team that was kind of on the downcline.
Was that Wizards team with Agent Zero?
I think so.
Was that Gil?
I think so. He swept them the year he went to the finals. Swept them 4-0. Gotcha. Then 6 games against the Nets. Then it's like that second year, it was almost like, I've already seen the Pistons. I know what I have to do. And that's when LeBron went dad mode to beat the Pistons.
The narrative of, LeBron just following Michael Jordan's footsteps, adding some weight, playing more physical, the story writes itself.
But then he got swept by Tim Duncan. Or his team got swept by Tim Duncan because it was just LeBron.
I was going to say, I don't even know what you expect that man to do. I mean, name his, second and third best player on that team. We're like, fucking what?
And then the next year, his 5th year, who did he run into in the second round? Oh, that Boston team that just got really good with Rondo, Pierce, Allen, and KG. So it's like, great, I got to get through this team now after just dealing with the Pistons. So, like, Luka, to me, the thing I want to see from Luka, especially this year, and Dima also put in, he has the Mavs 4th in his top 9 for the West. with Lakers, Clippers, and Nuggets 1, 2, 3 above them. To me, what I want to see from Luka is at the minimum, first round playoff series win. Like, that's what I would like to see. Should they have maybe gotten one last year? Yes, that Clipper team was not as good of a team as we thought they were going to be. Let's see how they are this year. But, like, if the Mavs can get a playoff win, get into the second round, hell, even get a second playoff win, like if Luka goes to the Western Conference Finals this year, I think we raise our eyebrows when we look at the Mavs as a little bit different than what we do. Because obviously the Mavs are on an upcline, but yet again, we got to see what they do this year. Because like you said when we started the segment, Dave, there hasn't been any basketball played.
Yep. That's very, very tough to make these calls, really.
Zero at all.
One thing I would like to add to that is, again, Luka's someone who wasn't able to get in shape because of COVID. The lockdowns where he was at, basically he came into camp a little out of shape. He knows he's got to do what he's got to do to get back in shape, but cardio and Luka has come into a crosshair at the end of last season, let's say. There were moments during the end of the games where people were looking at his efficiency and his shot selection, his defensive effort, and raising questions about whether he was conditionally ready for those kind of late, 48-minute kind of games.
Yeah.
And also Kristaps Porzingis' health, as he will miss the opening group of the year. We don't know exactly how many games he will miss, but it's expected.
Everyone's saying mid to late January is when we're thinking is the range for Kristaps.
So he could miss, 4 weeks. He could miss somewhere in that range. So, again, the goal is just, hey, we got these guys under contract. Let them play. Let them get comfy. They looked really good last year. The addition, again, can't speak enough about that Josh Richardson pickup. I love that pickup. And again, the other pieces around them, they still have great shooters. They still have all the nice role players. So, it's very much let's just make sure everybody's healthy. Let's make sure everybody's in shape, and let's see what this team can do come playoff time. I don't expect them to be a top team because of both Luka's conditioning and Kristaps being out. But, hey, who knows? They could shock us.
They did have the biggest loss of the offseason, though, Dave. They no longer have...
They lost Best Curry.
Yeah, Best Curry. I was going to say better Curry, but Best Curry.
He's Best Curry.
Yeah, I mean, Seth Curry now with Glenn Rivers in Philly.
That is correct.
He's the son-in-law of Glenn, right? Right?
He's married to Glenn's daughter.
Okay,
yes.
That's what I thought. The other NBA thing I want to get into, Dave, is James Harden. As yes, we talked yesterday with Jake about a trade, but there have been more details that have come out about James Harden.
He did an interview.
He did an interview. But before we get into all of that, I want to ask you, just based off of last night, were you concerned at all about Hamburger Harden, as I was seeing on Twitter? Like Pat McAfee even tweeted, is this photoshopped? Am I seeing with my two eyes what I really see?
Now, I will admit, Harden is in A shape. Maybe not the best shape, but he's in A shape.
He's trying to work himself for Uncle Drew.
Round is a shape.
Round is a shape. He is in shape, for sure.
I think the only concerning thing I saw out of him, which is exactly what I expect to see out of James Harden, was he goes on a play, goes in for a layup, dishes out from the layup, and just stands perfectly still. And the ball moves. Player drives in towards the net, goes for a dump-off pass to James because he was getting doubled as he was going up, and James literally didn't even lift his arms. The ball just hits him in the face and then bounces to the opposing team. And, Harden just looked mad at him.
Please tell me this did not really happen.
Oh,
I didn't watch that game.
Yeah, there's video of it. There are clips of it, Ricky. You should go watch this.
I'm gonna pull it up on Twitter right now. I have to.
It was everything that, every story that has been about James Harden not moving off the ball just personified into one moment happening live. If you didn't believe me talking last year about how he refused to move off ball, and the year before that, to be honest, too, because even with Chris Paul, he didn't move off ball. Chris Paul's talked about this. Russell Westbrook has talked about this. But yeah, that was just nothing's changed. James Harden is still living in James Harden land, and he doesn't need to do anything in his mind when the ball's not in his hands. It was hilarious. And he, again, the genuine anger from being hit in the face with a ball because you didn't realize that the ball could come back to you.
Oh my God.
Did you find the clip yet?
Yeah, I can't believe it's a thing. Like you were describing it, Dave, and I'm like, you're being funny here now, Mr. Joking Man. I can't believe that's a thing.
That sure happened.
I will ask you because I even made this before the press conference was even a thing. If he has said things,
so much worse.
What has he said? Because I only know stuff that I was going to bring up about what an anonymous coach from the Rockets last year said that we're going to get into, and also there were comments that Steph Curry made that we're going to get into.
I mean, Steph's talked about him. Chris Paul's talked about him. Russell Westbrook has talked about him. James said, what he was doing prior to showing up to camp was working out, with his trainers in Vegas and Atlanta. It was dumb shit like that, and it was just like clearly he's playing a game. We all know it. The Russ thing was hilarious because it was basically like talk about the bubble, and when they were getting ready for film sessions to start, James would intentionally stall out his COVID test to that time. And Russ would be like, just fucking start the film. Just start it. Like, I'm not waiting for this. Like, every day, apparently. This was just the world of the Rockets revolves around James Harden and catered to him. He's like, we were late for buses. We're late for planes. We're late for... And it was just like, wow, okay, this is like... And you thought Russ was the problem.
Well,
and you
I did. And yet again, I'm fly on the wall, Dave. I would have loved to be.
I'm enjoying all of this coming out now. It feels great.
So, and you bring that up, the quote that I had that has been run everywhere.
Yeah.
This was from a member of the Houston coaching staff last year said, if they have multiple days off, everybody knows James is going to fly somewhere else and party. But he's going to come back and have a 50-point triple-double, so they're okay with that. I had a thought, though, Dave. And this is me where, like Eric says, this is James Harden, this is a concern on what trade value is. Jake makes a joke of let Harden keep talking so we can trade Toby for him.
You wish.
This is where I'm at. And before I make my point, I actually have a video that I want to play for people because there was like I said, Steph Curry made comments, and these comments are they're resurfacing now, but they were made a while ago. They were made during the All-Star game at Charlotte. And yet again, Steph has come out and said he was not mic'd up. He didn't know he was mic'd up for this.
Yep.
All right. This is what was said between Curry and Budenholzer. I just want to play this really quick for everyone.
Guys play, and to me it's so good for the sport and everything. And it's interesting though, because I talked to James from back, like obviously complimenting what he's doing. The first thing he said was like, yeah, it's fun, but I want to play different. Like, I'm about myself, whatever hero ball. But like the people want to play like that. There's a system where they actually can play beautiful basketball. Yeah, like, it's such a beautiful sport. Know how to play. It's interesting for him to say that. Like I would not have thought. I was like, man, you're right. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah. I'm gonna keep doing that. He's like, nah. Well, and that's the thing. You need help. Like after him doing that, so every night, like it's gonna be hard.
So basically, what Steph is alluding to is that James wants to change up his play style. Doesn't want to have it where it's all on him. That he kind of works as a team. And based off of what the anonymous Houston coach said, I have a little theory in my head, Dave. Is James Harden, if James Harden wants to win a championship, does he need to be the Dennis Rodman of a team? And what I mean by that is he's going to do what he does on the court very fucking well. But he needs someone like Michael Jordan to keep him in place and keep his trust to where it's like, hey, I'm going to go and party, do my thing. But no, when I'm on the court, it's all business, and we're going to do what we do to win a championship. Is that is that how we should be looking at James Harden?
It does seem like he's very much trying to live in that era of, when I'm on the court, I'm on the court. When I'm not, my business is my own. Which, hey, if you could pull off performances like that, I kind of respect it. But clearly, the separation and eating away at the team and the morale and being expected to be a leader when you're clearly not, that's going to create some conflict. So he needs to go someplace where that can be tolerated, basically. Not accepted, but tolerated. So I think you have to go somewhere, obviously, with strong personalities, a great leadership structure, great head coaching stuff. Like, you have to have the right environment to support someone who has that sort of mentality. And that might bode well for some teams, and other teams clearly are just being like, I mean, we thought we might take a chance on him, but definitely the fuck not now.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing, and I know Eric says in Twitch chat, James Harden's not that guy. He would have been traded to the Warriors already. Think back to, and yet again, this was documented in the last 10.
Or the Rodman-esque personality, because the comments about him talking about playing beautiful basketball and not wanting to play hero ball all the time just reek of bullshit to me.
I'm talking about the Dennis Rodman.
I just wasn't sure for Eric.
Oh, okay.
If he wanted to play beautiful basketball, he probably would have been traded to a team, because if he could fit in and move the ball and all that stuff, I think that a lot of teams would be very interested in that version of James Harden.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing too that I think about, and yet again, this is me thinking about the comparison to Dennis Rodman. Okay, yeah, the beautiful basketball is what Eric was talking about. The thing that I think of is, number one, is there anybody in this league that James Harden either views or has a friendship with that is kind of like how Jordan and Rodman looked at each other? Where like, it's like Jordan was the number one. It's Jordan's team. Rodman knows, hey, I don't want to let you down. Like, he even said that in the documentary. I don't want to let you down. When I'm here, you can trust on me, but I'm going to do my own thing outside of basketball. Like, that's the thing to me. Any of these teams that we're looking that are trading for Harden, do they have a guy that could be that? Because the whole thing with Russ, it would have never worked, because it was never Russ's team. Russ was coming into James Harden's team.
I mean, Russ lived in the world, and he seemed like a great teammate and a great leader on that team from all accounts. Unfortunately, James just could not give a fuck.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough. And when you're talking about the other teams out there, well, does he view KD that way? Didn't work with Russ. Maybe we go all the way back to KD. Like, you think that'll go back? I think that the fact that he has a former coach on that staff helps out. I think he would respect. See, I want to say he would respect him, but I'm like, maybe he'd be like first-time coach. Maybe I could take advantage. That's the problem. I don't know. Like, the Nets are an interesting situation. Obviously, he wants to go. He wants to play with Kyrie and KD. But man, Steve Nash as a first-time head coach, I don't know how James Harden views him, or if he idolizes him, or how that relationship would work. And the other teams in the East, as far as it's concerned, like, yeah, it might work out on the Miami Heat, where it's like it's a polar opposite of environment. So he is forced to live up to expectations. And Pat Riley has seen it all, done it all.
Closer to Atlanta, too. Miami, much closer to Atlanta.
And Jimmy Butler is the respected guy on the team, but you still have that OG and Udonis Haslem, who is just an assistant coach on the bench.
Yeah, here's my question with Miami, though, because I thought about Miami because of Jimmy. Here's my question with them, though. Would Jimmy fall into the Michael Jordan camp of, like, you know what, like, I trust you, but at the same time I can be stern to you? Or would Jimmy be on the other side of, like, no, I don't want to fucking deal with this? Like, would Jimmy and Harden basically clash heads rather than the whole, like, thing where Michael Jordan was like, yo, bro, I'm fucking coming to get you and bringing you back to practice?
I think that's the problem. Jimmy Butler's got work ethic, and he wants everyone around him to have a work ethic. So that's where I'm wondering if the culture shock would help James Harden maybe get back into some sort of regularity whereas he's not just, going to Vegas or Atlanta or wherever to go clubbing and do all of those things. So I don't know, like, it sure as fuck isn't, I'd say it is definitely not Milwaukee. It's definitely not Chicago. It's definitely not the 76ers. It's definitely not the Atlanta Hawks. I can name a lot of teams it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are only a handful of teams who have personalities who are strong enough to deal with James Harden. And that is the problem. You have to have someone there who can be the true leader of the locker room, the leader of the team, and allow James to do his thing while still maintaining that locker room's togetherness.
To me, there's two teams. Well, yeah, there's two teams that if I was the general manager of their team or the president of basketball operations, I would even look into a trade for Harden. The Nets and the Warriors. Those are the only two, because I know that like Eric throughout the whole he'd be traded if he was the guy, he'd be traded to the Warriors. I think the thing with the Warriors that could work for him is obviously if Steph's talking to him and Steph have some type of relationship. It's not just Steph isn't the only leader on that team. There are so many leaders on that team, even though it is Steph's team. You wouldn't think Clay's a leader on that team? No? Okay.
He's quite guy.
He's got a coach in Steve Kerr that is one that I feel like James Harden can respect, and Steve Kerr's not one that is going to... Steve Kerr, player coach, who wouldn't create friction between him and Harden.
You think not?
But, yet again, what would the deal be? Because contractually, if I'm the Warriors, I'm not giving up James Wiseman. What would it be? Wiggins, Looney, and then as many picks as the Warriors want to give up that the Rockets would feel okay taking?
Probably, yeah.
Because that contract works. Wiggins and Looney for Harden. It's just how many picks would you have to include there?
Harden's fucking Harden.
Yeah, that's the thing. But if I'm the Warriors, I ain't giving up Wiseman. You know what I'm saying? I know Wiseman would probably have to be in there, but I don't know if I'd want to give that up. But those are the two teams, Nets, Warriors, that I feel like there's any. I feel
Clippers. Just team don't give a fuck. Kawhi Leonard don't give a fuck.
Who are
Paul
they
George don't give a fuck. James Harden don't give a fuck.
Who are they trading for him though? That's the thing.
I don't know, Ricky. I'm not a numbers man.
No, I know. I'm gonna pull it up right now because it'd
probably have to be a 3-team deal. They obviously give up their combo of Pat Bev, Lou Will, Luke Kennard, any piece on that bench worth anything, and their 2027, their 2029, their 2028 pick swap. I have to go that far out because I'm pretty sure that's the next available draft picks they have to work with because of the Paul George deal. But if they could assemble Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka, and James Harden, yes, individually, none of them give a fuck about basketball, but they could all play at a very high level. So, could be worth it. It's the ultimate high risk, high reward game.
So I'm trying to really quickly right now. Let's see, about
champions.
6. So about $6 million. Let's see what we got here.
Would you have to move Ibaka?
No.
Wonderful.
No. I don't know if I like this deal, but it would work.
Let's hear it.
No, it wouldn't work. I would still have to cut money. That's so stupid. Originally, what I had was Pat Bev because he's at $13.3 million. Marooks because he's at 14.8. Right, yeah. And then I wanted to throw in Lou Will, but apparently that adds a exception thing.
Kicker?
Yeah. Okay. So basically with Pat Bev and Morris, the Clippers would have to still cut $12.4 million, mainly being you would have the 5.8 left over, plus they have a 5.7 hard cap reason with Serge Ibaka. So they would, with Pat Bev and Marooks, they would still need to give up $12 million.
And Lou Will can't be done because...
It's $8 million.
Well, it's on the way.
Unless you're so Lou Will, so what? Then at that point, we need about, $4 million, $3 million more? Patrick Patterson, would that be enough?
I mean, look, none of those pieces on their own are attractive.
Yeah.
But they could all be flipped for late ones or twos, two twos. something like that for the Rockets. That's the whole problem is there's nothing on the Clippers worth anything to the Rockets. They need a third team involved.
Yeah, so to make it work 2 teams, the players that would have to coming are Lou Will, Pat Bev, Patrick Patterson, Marux Morris, and Terrence Mann.
Yeah, I mean, you'd give up all those guys in a heartbeat for James Harden, but
the Rockets.
The problem is, the Rockets don't want it in the trash.
Are they gonna? Can they Sam Presti it, Dave? Can they take those, move those for other picks, do things
but they won't. So,
because if I'm the Clippers, the big thing is I could move Marux easily because then play Serge at the 4, Zubac at the 5. Like, would that even work, or do you want fucking?
No, 100% would.
Yeah, that's
what they did last week for part of the time. They ended up just sticking a Bach at the 5 though because it worked better for the guys they had on the court.
Yeah,
I don't blame them. But yeah, there's like I said, out the Lakers, but they probably don't want him. The Clippers and the Golden State Warriors, and I don't know that the Rockets are going to deal him to the West. So that leaves the Nets. Like it makes sense. Like for fuck's sake, don't put James Harden on like the Knicks or some shit like that. Like he already runs a small town. It's not even small, like the 4th biggest town, like Houston, like whatever. And it's just
can you imagine him running like one of the biggest markets in the entire United States?
Not a chance. Don't think any other team really works for him. I think it's just the more we hear, the worse he comes off. Yes, he's a great basketball player, but he's clearly not a great human being.
Yeah. So Dave, we're gonna make a little change to our sheet, only because we've gone about 46 minutes, and I don't want to go an hour and a half today. So the college football thing, we're gonna talk about Cincinnati and their playoff chances. I got a full fucking setup to basically go through how they can. We'll push that to tomorrow.
I'm just doing the crying eyes here because I don't give a shit about Cincinnati's playoff chances.
I know. I agree with Pat McAfee in the sense of they're getting hosed a little bit, where they're going 8-0 and they're moving down a spot to a team that's got 2 losses. So I get that, but we got some college football games or implication games to go on this week. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Because there's also some interesting things going on with National Signing Day today that finishes up. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Deion, I'll tease it. Deion stole some recruits. Deion Sanders stealing some big recruits from Georgia to go play at Jackson State.
It's Deion State.
Yeah, it is. It's Deion State. Before we go into the last topic, Dave, let's get out of the way. I think it's this one. Let's see. Yep, Wet Boys. Let's do Wet Boys. Dampest of dudes, soggiest of shooters, the moistest of men. I gotta watch out. I almost spilled my water again. And sometimes the mistiest of misses. The pinky hit it, Dave. And I was I felt the little wobble. It's don't want to spill water on myself 2 days in a row. These are our players of the day, the ones we love to give the nod to. Dave gives a Wet Boy. I give a Wet Boy. The patrons at patreon.com/MVP vids give a Wet Boy as well. They're not preloaded, so I'll load them after we say them. But Dave, I'll let you go first. Who's your Wet Boy? December 16th, 2020.
We talked a little bit earlier about best Curry being traded over to the 76ers. I guess I'll take second best Curry in this case. Steph Curry, he had a pretty all right game. Honestly, just happy to see him healthy again. He looked like he was having fun. Yeah. And that's the thing. It feels like years. I know he only missed one, but it feels about 4 years since we got to watch Steph Curry have fun on the Warriors, taking dumb threes, just making crazy good passes, just having fun. And again, that's fun basketball. So thank you, Steph Curry. I can't wait to watch you healthy for a whole season. I'm not going to jinx you like I did last year, where I already knew that you were going to get injured again.
Or like you did in the Watch Along channel last night.
Maybe I did.
You were like, I'm just going to LeVar Ball it and speak it into existence.
I'm not trying to speak into existence. I was just trying to take credit for the fact that I did it last year. It was just, hey, I have this power to injured players.
Well, is he on your fantasy team?
He is.
Oh, no.
I think I have him. Let me just triple check my Yahoo.
We got to make a trade. Someone's got to trade for Steph Curry then. Give Dave a superstar. Let's make it happen. I'll fucking give you Dame. Just give me Steph then. Yeah. No, but then Dame gets injured. I can't have Dame be getting injured.
My team roster. Oh no, I take it back. It back.
Okay.
I got Chris Paul, Vic, Wiggins, Porter, Giannis, Blake, Ayton, Conley. Yeah.
So Chris Paul, that's the one that's getting injured.
Chris Paul's probably going down again. He had a healthy year.
Otto Porter will be dancing at the club. He'll get injured. Throw out a back.
He's
Bulls
Blake's
fans won't be upset about that. As most Bulls fans have turned on him and love Patrick Williams after 2 games. Dave, last thing we're going to dive into a little NFL news. Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot. I'm moving right on. I forgot my own wet boy.
And the fans' wet boy.
And the fans' wet boy. My wet boy, Dave, everyone's got to know who it is. Like, I gave the litany. Here's what it is. It's either Io. Then it's
Io. I hate that we got his name wrong for so long.
It's Io DeSumo. It's spelled with an A, said with an I. Io DeSumo. Number 2, then I do Zach LaVine. Then is it Zion. Then after that, it's either a Warrior, a Bull, a Fighting Illini, and then after that, it's like, okay, who had the best performance? For me, it's the Fighting Illini favor. Not Zion. That's who it was yesterday. Yours preloaded. Mine didn't. My own computer hates me, Dave. But no, it's Kofi Cockburn. No, not Zion.
It loaded him.
It loaded him, and then it was like, nope, back to Zion. No, Kofi Cockburn. And the big thing about this, not even the numbers. Take the numbers as they are. Kofi against Mizzou, Illinois Twitter was blasting him in a sense of the, like, Kofi, I know you're a better rebounder. Like, he had his hands on so many basketballs and just couldn't draw in the rebounds. Goes out against fucking Minnesota last night. Double-double, 32 points. Basically says, guys, it's okay. I'm still a good basketball player. 2 blocks in the game. Got to give love to Kofi because, let's be honest, most of the time Illinois wins a game. It's going to be Io DeSumo that is getting the wet boy from us. And then Dave, the patrons, they went with a guy from the game that your player also played in, Kyle Guy. It's not Kyle Guy, though. That's Josh Richardson. That was yesterday's wet boy. Yet again, my computer only likes Dave. Yeah, Kyle Guy. Mainly because of one shot, Dave, I must say. Yeah, he had 20 points off the bench.
I was saying he shot 60% from 3.
That was also a good thing, but he hit, like, let's be honest. If he didn't hit the shot, would he have been a patron wet boy?
Probably not.
That's just what I'm thinking. Like, the votes that came in shot me up on Twitter, like, with the video. That's why he got wet boy. He hit a good shot. Not saying it's not a good shot. Like, game winners, like, come on. You come up in the biggest moments, you got to be wet. You can't be dry.
You get a game winner. It's a plus. Mm-hmm. Come on. Yeah, give it to the Kyle Guy.
I mean, who would you rather be? As wet as Kyle Guy or as dry as Paul George in those situations?
I mean, look, all I'm saying is he about to replace a Wooden Award winner.
He is about to
put the watch on Buddy Hield.
He is about to replace. Only because of trade, though. Like, Buddy's going to get traded, right? That's why we're saying that. Dave's like, sure, Ricky, tell yourself whatever you want. But let's move on. Last thing we will talk about today, a little NFL news, Dave. Interesting comments coming up from Sean Payton. Before the year, Sean Payton said comments that this year will be Drew Brees' last. Then he backtracked them, said, I misspoke. Drew Brees is not done. Drew Brees, by the way, has 1 year left on his contract after this year. Drew Brees is also, I thought I saw the news earlier today, allowed to practice, but it's still iffy if he's going to play against the Chiefs this week. I don't think he is. I think he's going to be out. We'll see Taysom Hill yet again. However, on the Huddle and Flow podcast, Payton was asked about, so this is from Pro Football Talk, Jameis Winston thrown overboard by the Buccaneers and coach Bruce Arians after a full season of adopting Arians' no risk it for the biscuit mantra, currently serves as the backup for the Saints. Coach Sean Payton recently said that Winston eventually will have a chance to become the starter. Here's the exact quote. He's going to have that opportunity the minute Drew Brees leaves. That's the quote. Now, people are taking this out of hand. I don't even know if I want to say out of hand. They're running with it, Dave, because A, Drew Brees is under contract for 1 more year. Number 2, Jameis Winston is not under contract after this year. They would have to re-sign him. So I'm going to ask you, Dave, is this Sean Payton telling us that, no matter Drew's either retiring after this year or we're gonna Brett Favre him if he decides to come back.
It would be very, very weird if he got Brett Favre out of town
with 1 year left on his contract. Like,
it doesn't seem very right. I think Drew's done. I think this injury changed his thoughts on playing another season. And I think that there's a chance Jameis Winston sees some play time against the Chiefs.
Maybe.
I think I think the fans are starting to clamor for the ball to get a little vertical. Want to fuck it go deep, you know?
Are we already turning on Taysom Hill, Dave? Taysom Hill gets beat by the best rookie, the second runner in Rookie of the Year behind Joseph.
The flow,
Air Bear.
R.I.P. that flow.
Or the haircut. Air Bear cut. Cut.
That's the problem. That was the problem. The Saints are still good offensively, Eric. Yes, they're still good, but they were great. And Taysom has had one good game. One good game. I don't think that warrants continuing to play out this experiment. I think his contract is hilarious. I think that Drew Brees probably will miss this game. I think that's pretty guaranteed. I'm with you. Like, if he's still talking about practicing this week, like, no, you're not playing.
Well, apparently before last week he had throwing sessions, and they said that they didn't like his he had limited movement. They didn't he didn't like how things felt, so they kept him out yet again. I think that's going to be the same thing. He'll have chances to throw this week, but yet again, I think it's going to be the same thing. Like, dude, you are just not ready to go. And I had the same thought you had of like, this injury is something to where maybe Drew Brees is like, hey man, I'm going to give it everything I got to get out there this year. But maybe after this year, he looks at his wife, he looks at his kids and goes, you know what, maybe it's time to hang it up.
I mean, he's going to probably be involved with football for the rest of his life. I mean, he seems like somebody who loved the game of football. Yeah. If he just keeps his mouth shut, and stop making public comments like an idiot. The thing I do want to touch on, though, with him, his contract, his last couple of games this season, like, I do expect him to look decent enough. Obviously, when he does get back, I think just the Chiefs are too soon, too tough of a matchup.
Do you think he gets back this season?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I think he'll make probably the final start of the year. Okay. For the regular season, I should say.
Give him a little bit of a kind of like give you a warm up into the playoffs. Yeah,
you can't let him go completely. So no, and again, I don't hate Taysom Hill. I just don't think he's as good of a quarterback as our boy Winston. 30 for 30. Jameis Winston. I couldn't think of his name. I literally going in my head, I'm going 30 for 30, 30 for 30.
Famous
30
Jameis, 30. Baby.
Yep. Jameis Winston can chuck a ball. Credit given for what he can do. He can move the ball, and he looks great doing it. And I think he's been sitting there on the sidelines for so long. I want him to have a chance this year to prove it, because whether it's a job here or a job somewhere else, whether it's, with the 49ers, Detroit, Indy, Chicago, wherever it may be, he deserves another shot. So I just want him to get that fair shake. And the problem is Taysom's contract is so stupid. Like, that you're stuck between a rock and a hard place,
And like, even for me, I'm looking at their final games. I know we mentioned it on Monday. They've got the Chiefs this week. Then Minnesota comes to town week 16. And then they are going to, like, that last game would be Drew Brees at Carolina against Teddy Two Gloves, which is the weakest out of their last three opponents, plus even a Panthers team week 17. How many of those guys are sitting there going,
Christian McCaffrey comeback time?
Do you think he comes back this season?
I don't know.
Like, there's a part of me there where it's like, I would not be surprised if that team just goes,
he shouldn't.
Yo, Christian, just sit out the rest of the year. Ain't fucking worth it, man.
It's unfortunate that the guy who had been healthy his whole goddamn career, like, never missed a game in high school, never missed in college, and then he gets his payday after never missing in the pros, and then he's just broken.
Yeah, he was never drafted by you before.
Yeah, that's true. It do feel like that sometimes. This
was the year he was drafted by you.
It do feel like that sometimes.
Next year, Dave will avoid him. Bounce back year for Christian McCaffrey. He'll be great.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, can I have a quick aside to vent a little bit for like 2 seconds? I'm venting to the millions and millions of people out there that in our private fantasy league, Dave, we got a couple complainers a couple of complainers, Dave.
Really?
Like,
Really?
so our league is basically 8 people. It's Dave and Mark at the bottom at 6 and 8. I'm not.
That's very bad
like,
because of injuries.
Then we have me at the top at 9 and 5. That means we had 5 teams at 7 and 9, and all I have seen in our text group is, well, I should have made the playoffs because of this, and I should have made. You know what I wanted to text to them, but I did not, Dave, because I'm gracious and I'm nice. I just wanted to say, like, win more games. Like, I'm not having this problem because I was 9 and 5. I didn't tie with anybody, so like, I don't know. You brought, like, Christian McCaffrey fantasy brought up in my head. I haven't been able to vent it to anyone, but yeah, if anyone's complaining about tiebreakers in fantasy, my answer is win more games. Then you won't have to worry about it. But going back to the Saints, the thing they do have to worry about is a loss this week and maybe a loss to Minnesota next week. I'm not locking that one in. I would lock in a Chiefs loss before I lock in a Minnesota loss, but they are only 2 games ahead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you want to know Tampa's last 5, Dave? Because it is a doozy.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Atlanta twice and Detroit once. They go Atlanta, Detroit, Atlanta. If Tom Brady and this team can't go 3-0 in these last, I know that like any given Sunday, Lions have been playing better.
Is he dead?
Like if this,
Tom Brady dead? Is that what you're saying?
If this Bucs team can't win these last 3 games against Atlanta or not hot Atlanta, they've been ice cold Atlanta, not in the good way.
Not Matty Ice.
Yeah, not Matty Ice. And then the Detroit Kittens this year. I know they played better of late, but still got thrown out there.
They put up a hell of a fight against the Packers.
They did. I gave them credit for their fight against them. Bevel's got those guys raring to go.
He is not going to be their head coach, apparently.
No, he's not. But, I mean, the Saints could be in some tricky waters to where it's like, do they try to, like, if they lose this week to the Chiefs and the Buccaneers beat the Falcons, which I think those are going to be my picks for this week, then the Saints would be at 10 and 4. The Bucs would be at 9 and 5, with 1 game in between, and a Vikings team that might be able to beat you at home.
Conceivably.
Would they go to push him back week 16 so that they stay in that top 3? Because, yet again, tiebreakers, I don't know if the Rams beat them in tie-breaking, but they'd be tied with the Rams. Stay within that top 3 home field advantage and not fall to 5 or 6, where the Buccaneers are now sitting at the 6th seed.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to predict how he will look in practice, over the next week. He might have a breakthrough kind of a day where it's just you wake up one morning and the flexibility is back. It just takes the body a while to adjust. So he's probably putting himself under a lot of stress, probably working out harder than ever to get back for the season, knowing that this could be his last best chance. So I think it's too early to say that he will not be there for that game. I think the only thing is just I feel safe and confident saying, the Chiefs probably would be a bad idea. Let him have a full week of rest and practice to get back in it because he needs it.
So last thing I want to throw out there, very just quick, Dave. Sunday night, Browns-Giants. Guess who may be starting that game for the Giants because of some injuries? Colt McCoy may be starting that. There's some rumors
Danny Gibbs,
that
by the way, his name.
Danny Gibbs.
Instead of Danny Dimes, it's Danny Gibbs.
Danny Gibbs, that's right.
As he gives the ball over to the other team so much.
Yeah, but Danny Dimes apparently that leg injury, Danny donates. He might not be playing this week, and they might be keeping him out. So we could have Baker versus Colt on Sunday Night Football.
I mean, that's a great name off. Baker Mayfield versus Colt McCoy. Talk about Texas quarterbacks right there.
Battle for Texas, baby. I don't even know. Is Baker's from Oklahoma, or is he from I know he went to Oklahoma. Yeah. But like, is he one of those kids that's like you always hear the ones that are like, I was raised as a Texas fan, but then I went to Oklahoma.
I always stereotype and get him confused with that spoiled drunk brat who got bounced out of the NFL from the Browns as well.
Oh, Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, I always get them confused.
Yeah, because they remind you of each other, don't they?
Yeah, it's like Baker Mayfield's like if Johnny Manziel cared about football.
Yeah, And they both played for the Browns.
Yeah, well.
He went to Baker Mayfield, born in Austin, went to Oklahoma. Like,
there you go.
That's the thing. How are you born in Austin in fucking Longhorn territory, but then you go play for the Sooners?
It lined up better. It lined up timing-wise better for him and his opportunities, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Got to take care of number one.
Dave, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
No, really fun show.
I loved it. This show was great.
I started on a shit on the media and then worked my way positive.
Dave, you shocked me because I'm like, we're talking Luka. Dave's going to be happy, going to be talking Luka. And then I was like, whoa, what is going on here?
I hate that people are trying to put him on a pedestal. He's a third-year player. He has played no games this year. And you're saying he should be the favorite for MVP because of the Vegas betting odds. He should win a championship. He should do people. Let's back the fuck up and take a look around the league. Okay, LeBron James is still the best fucking player in the league, as he has been for the last decade.
It's like Aaron Rodgers said.
A championship. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's like Aaron Rodgers said. We're throwing around the GOAT too much. Back in the day, there used to only be one GOAT, which is still Michael Jordan. But
I like how I was like. He's like, yeah, there's a GOAT for the best thrower, and he's like,
he just points to Aaron. Oh man, that's gonna do it for us today. Thank you guys for checking us out, giving us a listen, a watch. Whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, remember, join the Discord, greatest community on the internet. Link down below, our Discord and the Twitch chat. If you want to support us, make sure we can keep doing great content for you guys each and every day. Patreon.com/MVP vids, link down below. Patreon. Thank you to Pat Hill and Philly Sean, our Patreon sponsors. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVP vids. We're on YouTube, MVP Sports. Want to thank you yet again for everything you guys do. We do this for you guys, and we are nothing without you guys, the fans. And as always, have a good day, everybody.